everyone, this is Crafty Decoria and I hope you're all doing great. So today I will be sharing 3 simple DIYs from the Dollar Tree, and it will be in the lemon theme. I have been really late with doing DIYs just because I've been busy with some other projects that we have here at home on the go. So I did want to get these lemon DIYs done before I start with fall, because if you've been watching YouTube, then you're seeing amazing fall DIYs already popping up. So as I said, these 3 are fairly simple to put together. 2 of them are really simple, and the other one is a little bit more detailed, but it's fairly simple to put it together also. So without further ado, let's jump into these 3 DIYs. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so starting with DIY number 1. When these plates came to Canada, I knew that I wanted them for my dining room table to dress up my table for the summer months. I also wanted to make some tiered trays. And at first I was going to make a 3-tiered tray, but realized that I have so much decor, especially when you're making decor for a specific season, you need a lot of room to be able to store this stuff. So then I decided to go with a 2-tiered tray, as it's not as tall. But I went one step further and just made the tiers separately, so that when I want to place my top tier on top of the bottom tier, I have my 2-tiered tray. And when I want to use it separately and only use the bottom and perhaps use the top in another area of my home, or if I just want to use it on my table for a different purpose, or just, have it all spread out, I can do that as well. The big plus is that when I store this away, it's a lot easier for me to store. So to make my bottom tier, I use my big plate and my bowl. So here I've gone ahead and turned the dinner plate upside down, but my bowl is facing right side up. So I just added some glue to the bottom of the bowl and then placed it on top of the bottom of the plate. Now, if you don't like centering things, one little tip when I do this is I'll take some wax paper and I'll trace the bottom of the bowl. I cut it out and then I can center it on my plate so that I can see exactly where it's centered. I then trace that circle, add my glue to that, and then place my bowl on top. It just makes it a lot easier. With my top tier, I'm using the smaller plate and the mug. With this, I turned the the smaller plate upside down, but I also turned the mug upside down. So I added the glue to the rim of the top of the mug and then centered that on the bottom of the smaller plate. And of course, I'm using E6000 glue to do this to make sure that everything is nice and secure. So this one is glued together. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this together, and then I can display these on my table to show you how pretty they look and some different ways that you can use this. DIY number 2, I am going to be making pillow covers. I originally wanted to make pillows, but I didn't have any old pillows on hand, and I didn't get out to the store to get some polyfill to stuff the pillows. So instead, I will be making pillow covers, which works also great because I can just cover the pillows that I already have that I'm using. So for this, I'll be using a microfiber cloth, as well as the fabric rolls from Dollar Tree. and the microfiber cloth is from Dollar Tree as well. And it's funny when I picked up these rolls because I thought that I grabbed the last 5 rolls in the box of the lemon fabric. But it wasn't until I did a Dollar Tree haul and then someone pointed out to me that one of the rolls was actually greenery. And I did not notice in the store, and I did not notice when I did the haul. So thank you to the one that pointed it out to me that I only had 4 of the lemon fabric rolls. So with this one, I have an area where I do have greenery, where I've decorated just using greenery. So this will work out great as a pillow cover, or I will just place it in some frames to make some really nice prints to add to a wall. But that was pretty funny. So here I've laid out the fabric, the square, and it actually is square in shape. And then the microfiber cloth is more rectangular in shape. So above and below my microfiber cloth, there is about a 2-inch, 1.5 inch border on the top and the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is first of all, when you do your pillows, you wanna lay your good side of the fabric facing on the inside. So the good side of the lemon fabric is facing up, and then your good side of your second piece of fabric is facing down. So the good sides are touching. Then I'm going to, first I have my fabric and my microfiber cloth lined up on the left side here. I'm gonna glue that in place. Then I'm going to glue the top and the bottom. But I'm going to add my hot glue, and just to say, normally I prefer, if I'm gonna make pillows, to sew my pieces together. But my sewing machine is not working at the moment. So if I can't sew them, then I will use the fabric glue from the Dollar Tree, which I love. I've used it to make a bolster pillow, and I will post the link for that video in the description box below if you care to see that. I really, really like using that fabric glue. And if I don't have that on hand, which is the case right now, then I will use my hot glue. And I have washed pillows that I've made using hot glue. Mostly they're more decorative pillows, but I have washed them on a very gentle cycle and they seem to hold up. The only reason why I don't prefer the hot glue is because I just find it harder around the edges. But otherwise it works great if you want to throw a pillow together, and yeah, you could do that. So if you decide to make the pillow cover, you could use whatever method you prefer. So I'm going to add the hot glue just to the edge here of the fabric. And when I fold it over, I'm going to fold it just above the edge of the microfiber cloth. This way the pillow, when it is turned inside out, the one side will be completely lemons, and then the other side will be all microfiber cloth, but it'll have a border on the bottom and the top of the pillow. Just because my pillows, I believe they're 18 by 18 inches, so it'll just fit the pillow a lot nicer. So once I've glued the edge, the top and the bottom, then I'm going to turn my microfiber, and that's another thing. When I'm gluing, I'm going to glue up to this point here, and then I'm going to stop because I need to fold. You can see that it's a lot longer on this side, and I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to fold it over. So probably about 3 inches or so. I'll fold it over, and then I'll glue it down here, and then I'll turn it over and then glue the other edge to the outside, so that when I turn the pillow cover inside out, then all my seams are to the inside of the pillow. Actually, before I glue my sides together, I went and flipped over the fabric and I just folded my other end down. I'm going to glue that down first, and then I will fold the top and the bottom to close off the sides. DIY, which is DIY number 3, I will be making a lamp. Now, when I came across the lemon dishes and placemats at the Dollar Tree, I was so happy because I had been waiting for these for such a long time. But ever since I have been back at shopping at the Dollar Tree, and I tend to go once a week, I have not been able to find more than this one single placemat. However, I still wanted to use this for a decor piece because the placemat is probably my favorite of the whole set. I just love the cream color of the placemat and then the subtleness of the yellow and green in the lemons and the leaves. I think it's really, really pretty. So I decided that I would try and use this one single placemat to make a decor piece to add to the other lemon decor pieces that I have, so that I can enjoy it all summer long. So this one placemat, I have this plastic 8-inch bowl, 2 of the larger size mirror from the Dollar Tree, and again everything is from the Dollar Tree except for this here, 2 of the ceramic candle holders, the chopping mats to which you get 2, and I will use both of them. And then, as I said, I will be using the Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover Paint and Primer, and it is a gloss finish in Kona Brown. Now, I do like to keep my projects all Dollar Tree, and I definitely could go ahead and use the brown from the Dollar Tree. I use it many times for various projects, but when I am short for time, which I normally am, I just like to use the Rust-Oleum because it is a primer plus the paint. Whereas if I was using the acrylic paint from the Dollar Tree, I would be sanding everything down, really making sure it was clean, and then I'd be painting my pieces. And I just love the finish of a spray paint. And then definitely after my paint was dry, doing about 2 or 3 coats, I then would use some Mod Podge to seal and protect my piece. This is just so much simpler and quicker, so that's why I use the spray paint, in case you're wondering. But whenever I can pick this Rust-Oleum up for a good price, I grab it. And this one here, I did pick it up at my local Dollar Haven here in town, and you can see I picked it up for $3.99 Canadian, which is an awesome deal because it's less than half price than if I were to buy it at Home Depot, Home Hardware, or Canadian Tire. So if I can get it cheaper and I can make the DIY a lot simpler for me, that's what I'm gonna do. So without further ado, let's jump into this tutorial. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so to begin, I'm gonna start gluing some of my pieces together. It is nighttime here, and it's a great time to allow this piece to dry overnight so that the glue can adhere all the pieces together really nicely. So again, I'm using my E6000 glue. I've turned my plastic bowl upside down. I'll take my first candle holder and I'm going to be gluing the top, turning it upside down and gluing it to the center of the bottom of the plastic bowl. So this is the bottom here. The flat piece is facing up. Then I'll take my second candle holder, and then with the bottom of this candle holder, I'm going to place it directly over the bottom of the first candle holder. And I'll glue that together and let it dry. Took out the mirror from the frames, and with the backings I'm going to glue them together, and then I'm going to insert it back into one of the frames. This will be the base of my lampshade, and then with the other one, that will be the top, and it will just remain open. I've placed the inserts inside of this frame, and as I said, this is the base of my lampshade. So taking the front of the frame, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to add some E6000 glue to the top of this candle holder, and then I will center the frame on top of that and then let that dry. Let the E6000 glue dry. Once this has dried, I'm going to take it outside and give it at least a coat of spray paint. This is 2 times Rust-Oleum paint and primer, so a lot of times just 1 coat is good enough. At the same time, I'll take the second frame outside and spray paint that separately. Once everything has dried, we'll move on to the next step. Ready to make my lampshade, which I'll be using my chopping mats. So I did have one package which has 2 chopping mats inside, but after measuring the diameter of the frame of the mirror, I realized that 2 was not enough. So I did have another extra package on hand in which I'll be taking out another chopping mat to use to make up the difference. And how I figured out how much I would need is I just took a piece of jute twine and I just went around the whole outside of the frame, and then I just cut my piece of jute twine, and that is the length that I would need in my chopping mats. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue these chopping mats together. I'll just be using my hot glue. I did test this out beforehand with my E6000 glue, and the E6000 glue did not work good. It actually, where I added the glue, it's almost as if it acted as a sponge, and it did not leave a flat surface. There were indentions in the plastic, so that was not good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my hot glue. Now I would recommend, if you have the Gorilla Glue sticks, those would be better because I find they are a lot stronger, but I only have the Dollar Tree ones, so that's what I'll be using today, and hopefully they work good. So with the chopping mats, there is a glossy side and then a rougher side, and that is where I'll be adding my glue, so hopefully it adheres better to that side. Okay, so my cutting mats are all glued together, and the hot glue is a great option, much better than the E6000 glue because it holds it great, it keeps the cutting mat flat, and it folds really nice. So I highly recommend the hot glue. I also left a little extra on the end, probably about 3 inches, just so that when I join the ends together, then I have plenty of space to glue them together as well. So now to cover the cutting mats, and for that I'm using my single placemat. So I've already gone ahead and separated the back from the front. Now these placemats measure 18 inches wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut each side into 3 pieces. So I've measured 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches per piece. This way, when I Mod Podge them onto the cutting mat, I'll just alternate the lemons from the clear yellow or orangey fabric, and this way the shade will just look a little bit more even. I would have loved to have just done the shade all lemons, but I only had the one and it just was not enough to cover the cutting mats, but hopefully it turns out really nice just the same. Here I have finished gluing my pieces onto the cutting mat with the Mod Podge and my hot glue, and I love how this has turned out. So I just alternated the lemon pieces with the yellow pieces. So now I ended up changing how I was going to be putting this shade together. Originally, I was only going to use 2 of the mirrored frames, of course, with the mirror removed from the frame. But I now decided to add a 3rd frame to this DIY. And the reason for that is because initially I was just going to take my cutting mat, and before I glued my ends together, I was just going to little by little glue it to the outer edge of the frame until I went all the way around, and then I was going to do the same thing to the bottom. But what I realized is that my lampshade would not look finished. Now I could have went ahead and added some thicker nautical rope to this, but I really did not want to add nautical rope to this piece. So by adding that 3rd mirrored frame without the mirror, this was going to really finish off the lampshade. So what I decided to do was, once I finished gluing my pieces, I glued the two ends together. Now remember, when you are making this, I showed you how to measure with the jute twine. Leave about an inch and a half extra of the cutting mat so that when you wrap your cutting mats to glue the both ends, then you'll have that little bit extra to glue together so that you'll have a nice comfortable fit for your shade. Now with this, what I decided to do is I am going to be gluing the shade to the inside of the frame. This way the top and the bottom of the shade are going to look so beautifully finished with the edge of this frame. So once I have it glued together, my ends, then I just fit it inside of the frame like that. Now the neat thing is when I go to glue this in, I'm going to add my glue a little bit at a time, and I'm always going to be pressing the shade up against the frame so that I get a really nice finished look to the shade. Then once I've glued the bottom together, I'm going to take that third frame and do the same. I'm just going to fit it on the inside of the frame. And again, taking my hot glue, I'm just going to press the shade up against the inner edge of the frame and then glue that down. And then as you can see, the top and the bottom of my shade are going to look so beautifully finished. Once I've finished all of that, then I'm going to just add some E6000 glue to the bottom of the frame here, and then I'm just going to glue it to the frame that I've already glued on, that I've glued to the ceramic candle holders. I'll just glue that on top of there, and my lamp will be complete. The only thing that I will have left to add, and I didn't include it in the list of items that you would need, because you could add whatever you want for your lighting inside of there, but if you're gonna stick to Dollar Tree things, then you could add the push lights that the Dollar Tree carries, the flameless LED candles, or the wire or the copper or silver wire LED lights that the Dollar Tree carries as well. So if you decide to make this, again, the choice is yours. I'm gonna go ahead, glue this all together, and then I'll show you what it looks like once it is all complete and lit up. So here are my Dollar Tree pillows, and I absolutely love them. And I'm almost thinking that I'm going to keep these just as they are. These really are more like a pillowcase that just goes over pillows that you already have. You definitely, if you wanted the ends closed, you could add some Dollar Tree Velcro. You could sew some buttons on these. You could add some ribbon and then tie them in a couple of pretty bows on the side if that's something that you wanted, but I actually don't mind them just as they are. So I did leave them open just in case I was gonna get some polyfill to fill the pillows to stuff them. But again, I may just keep them as they are, and this way when I'm ready to switch out my pillows, maybe with another pillow cover, I can very easily take these off and store them flat, and I really love them. So again, here the lemon print on the front, and then on the back, the super soft microfiber cloth there. I love them. I just love that pop of color. And again, I wanted to get this video done because fall has definitely arrived on all the crafting channels, and so I just wanted to share this before I started on any fall DIYs. So now over to my lamp. While I am so happy that I went with the 3 mirrored frames instead of the 2, because as you can see, it just finished the lampshade off so beautifully. I absolutely love it. Now again, I wish that I had enough to have made this shade all of the lemon fabric, but I still think it turned out really well using the back and the front of the placemat, as I only had the one. But I absolutely love this. And I love the color of the brown. Again, it is Kona Brown, and it is by Rust-Oleum. It's the 2-time paint and primer in a gloss finish, and I absolutely love it. So for the inside, again, you know, you can add whatever you want to this to illuminate your lamp on the inside of the lampshade, but to kind of keep it Dollar Tree, I just went ahead and took a glass vase and I wrapped the silver wire LED light around the glass vase so that it goes up the lampshade nice and evenly. And I also went ahead and added some Dollar Tree flowers to place in there to make this lamp a little bit extra special. And I love it. I absolutely love how this came out. And you can see the size of this. It is not small, definitely. I'll go ahead and measure it and show you the exact measurement of what this lamp size is. But I definitely will be making a couple more of these, so that right now I am using my Dollar Tree lanterns that I made. I'll put a link to that DIY in the description box below. But definitely, if I don't want the lanterns and I want to make something more custom, then I definitely can make these lamps. They would look beautiful on the side, on each side of a bed. Just a really wonderful size, and again, I'm so pleased with how it turned out. Okay guys, so here are my lemon 2-tiered stands, and I just love them. I have one on each end of the table, on each side of my lamp here. Yes, I placed it on my table as well. And definitely, if I were using this as a centerpiece, I would probably add a little bit more flowers up there, but I think it looks beautiful as a centerpiece as well. And with the 2-tiered stand here, I love the fact that if I want to have them together, I can. I have some little goodies on the bottom, and then I just placed a candle on the top from the Dollar Tree, the LED flameless candle. I didn't want to do too much with this because I think the plates on their own are just beautiful as they are. But I love the fact that if I am placing food on these plates, there is no glue to have to worry about having food next to, and I love that. Also very easy to clean and store away. And even just the bottom piece on its own makes such a beautiful cake stand. And then of course you can place the top, which they really do act as little lanterns if you hold them by the handle of the mug. I think they're very cute, and just placed on the table on their own is also very, very pretty. And yeah, so that will do it. Please excuse the mess in my china cabinet here. We are working on making a pantry, so for now all the items are in the china cabinet just to be out of the way. But I really am so happy with how all of this came together, and of course the plates from the Dollar Tree are my setting on the table at the moment, and these are chargers that I made using the Dollar Tree bamboo cutting boards and the utensils from the Dollar Tree. If you want to see how I put those together, then I definitely will put the link in the description box below and you can see that. I just love these and I always have them on my table. But I wanted to enjoy the lemons just for a little bit longer before I switch everything out for fall. And guys, that will do it for this DIY, these lemon DIYs from the Dollar Tree. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope they inspired you. And if you liked the video, I would love it if you'd click like on this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would absolutely love and appreciate it if you did. If you could please share the video, that greatly helps my channel as well. And as always, guys, you take care of yourselves, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.